If Juventus fail to beat Tottenham at Wembley on Wednesday night, or engineer a high-scoring draw, it will mark Gianluigi Buffon's last playing appearance on British soil. Italy's legendary goalkeeper has stated his intention to retire at the end of the season unless Juve win the Champions League, in which case he will keep going until the Club World Cup in December. Truth be told, Buffon might not be too unhappy about leaving these shores behind. The 40-year-old keeper has lost 7 of his 11 club matches so far here, the most particularly painful defeats coming in 2 of the 3 Champions League finals he has played in. Here is a look back at Buffon's career in Britain so far. Rangers vs Parma, Ibrox, November 1998. Buffon's first trip was to Scotland as a fresh-faced 20-year-old and the emerging talent among an all-star Parma team featuring the likes of Fabio Cannavaro, Lilian Thuram, Juan Sebastian Veron, Enrico Chiesa, and Hernan Crespo. The UEFA Cup tie ended in a 1-1 draw, with Rod Wallace scoring past Buffon, but Parma later sealed progress back in Italy. Arsenal vs Juventus, Highbury, December 2001. After becoming the world's most expensive goalkeeper in a £32 million move to Juve earlier in the year, Buffon headed to London where he was taught a lesson by Arsenal, and Fredrik Ljungberg in particular. The Swede scored twice, one after a poor parry by Buffon, and another courtesy of one of the greatest assists of all time by Dennis Bergkamp, a chipped flick with the outside of his boot that outfoxed the entire Juve backline. Newcastle vs Juventus, St James Park, October 2002. A match notable for one of the worst mistakes of Buffon's career, as he contrived to deflect into his own net with his elbow a low Andy Griffin cross to hand Newcastle a famous 1-0 Champions League win against a side full of greats, including Pavel Nedved, Ciro Ferrara, and Edgar Davids. The mistake aside, Buffon was superb and rescued Juve on many other occasions. Juventus vs AC Milan, Old Trafford, May 2003. Buffon's first Champions League final ended in heartbreak as AC Milan won probably the dullest showpiece ever, 3-2 on penalties after 120 stupefying minutes. Buffon did his bit, keeping a clean sheet and saving spot kicks by Clarence Seedorf and Caja Kalaje, but was let down by the likes of David Trezeguet and Paulo Montero. Liverpool vs Juventus, Anfield, April 2005. Another trip to England and another defeat for Buffon, thanks to first-half goals by Sami Hyypiä and Luis Garcia. The Reds would progress from this Champions League quarter-final after a stunning rearguard in Turin, led by Hyypiä and Jamie Carragher, and set them on their way to that unforgettable night in Istanbul a month later. Arsenal vs Juventus, Highbury, March 2006. Juventus were dominant in Serie A but no match for Arsène Wenger's men near the height of their powers, with Thierry Henry and Cesc Fabregas putting the Italians to the sword in this Champions League quarter-final. Buffon was again a star in a losing team, keeping the score down by saving from Henry, Fabregas, and Alex Lub. Still, he would go on to win the World Cup that summer. Chelsea vs Juventus, Stamford Bridge, February 2009. A sixth straight defeat for Buffon in England was confirmed by Didier Drogba's clinical early strike that was too good for the keeper. The result was not unexpected, however, with this Juve team far from vintage. It contained the likes of Momo Sissoko, Olaf Melberg, Nicola Legrottigli, and Amari. Chelsea vs Juventus, Stamford Bridge, September 2012. Buffon finally broke his run of defeats in England after Juve mounted a stirring comeback to draw 2-2 in West London in the Champions League group stage. There was no disgrace in being beaten by Oscar's opener, which took a wicked deflection on its way into the net, and certainly not by the Brazilian second, a magnificent turn followed by a pinpoint finish from 25 yards out. Celtic vs Juventus, Celtic Park, February 2013. A win, at last, for Buffon in Britain. Neil Lennon's side were easy pickings for a ruthless Juventus, who cruised to victory with Alessandro Matri, Claudio Marchisio and Mirko Vucinic on the scoresheet. Buffon was tested early on by Victor Wanyama on an otherwise quiet night. Manchester City vs Juventus, Etihad Stadium, September 2015. And now, finally, a win in England. Mario Mandzukic and Alvaro Morata scored the goals in a 2-1 Champions League group stage win, but it was Buffon being hailed for his miraculous saves by boss Massimiliano Allegri, who also said his number one was perhaps the best ever in the history of football. Raheem Sterling was the victim of Buffon's brilliance as he saved 2 one-on-one chances. Juventus vs Real Madrid, Millennium Stadium, June 2017. The cruelest defeat of all. In Buffon's third Champions League final, he fell victim to Cristiano Ronaldo's enduring brilliance and shipped 4 goals to a ruthless Real Madrid, who made history by conquering Europe in successive seasons. It represented Buffon's last big chance to fill the one glaring omission on his CV. Unless, of course, Tottenham failed to capitalise on their advantage on Wednesday night.